morning, everybody. Welcome back to our Wednesday webinar series. I'm your host, Garrett Anderson, the Marketing Director for Contract Furnishings Mart. With me today is my dear friend, Linda Luberto with Luberto and Associates. She is an interior designer with only 32 years of industry experience here locally in the Northwest. And she actually has an office right here in Tigard, so contractually you are obligated to join me today.
Yes, I am.
But I appreciate you being here and taking the time. You have a busy schedule, so we want to fly through this. What we're going to talk about today is what are the values that a designer brings to any project? Who's a designer right for? How do you find that right connection? And ways just to go about and make the most of that experience. So first question is, who is the best candidate for a designer?
I think everybody can use a designer on any project, no matter what the size, if they feel the need and they feel unsure and just don't feel confident about their choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're not talking about just the uber-rich, multi-million-dollar home that's in construction. It can be just a simple kitchen or bathroom remodel, and you're bringing multiple things just to simplify that process, keep it fun.
There are designers out there that will take on any scale of project. Mm-hmm. It just depends on the scope of the work and how they're set up to do their business. So there's going to be a designer out there for everyone and any size of project.
Most of your work is from architect to finish, right?
Yep.
Walk me through that process.
It's basically meeting after the house has been drawn, when you get a wish list from your client and mm-hmm. they go to the architect and they just talk to them about what they want in a home, and he determines how he's going to set it on the site, and then the drawings are done. And then I go through the drawings with the client to be sure that the room sizes are going to fit everything that she intends to either bring with her or buy new. Mm-hmm. Is the king bed going to fit on that wall, centered how she wanted it? Does she have current things that she wants to bring that are big and oversized, and make sure the walls are long enough and that mm-hmm. there's not a door in the middle of it or a window in the middle of it.
And make sure all these things end up as a cohesive
right.
vision,
And so,
right?
and then you just I just go through the project from foundation to framing to everything, all the way down to the last pillow if needed.
How often are you called in kind of the 11th hour where somebody starts a project, they think that they have the vision, they can do it all, but they get bogged down at some point and they need a little assistance maybe to get them back on track?
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen often to me, but it does happen, and there are a lot of designers that can come in and help with getting them back on track and back into the construction schedule, because time mm-hmm. is money when you're doing a construction project, and you'll have
right.
a construction loan, and you're going to want to be sure that you keep up with that contractor and his choices and when he needs those choices for all of the trades to be installing them. So yeah,
right.
It's good if you've determined that you've gotten behind, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Let's talk about some more of the benefits that you bring to the table. I mean, you mentioned that you get to go out on site, which is something that our trained staff here isn't always able to do. Is that just a huge benefit, just being able to go out and about and see these things in person?
It is a huge benefit. It's a big benefit to a remodel project. So if you're doing a remodel, you can go out and see the current parts of the home that are going to be untouched, and then
mm-hmm.
the new framed in areas that are going to be the addition, or whatever, a gut or whatever it is that they're going to do, and you want to make sure that's cohesive with the old. So right. It's nice to be able to see the old and the new to make sure that the new improvements fit.
And also that cohesion between designing a kitchen, designing a bathroom, designing a master bedroom or a living space that don't have different styles.
For what's in between.
Mm-hmm.
So also for the outside of the house, you want to always follow the architecture. So you want to be sure that you're not having a Mediterranean exterior and then they want to put an atomic contemporary in the kitchen. You want to be sure that
that's just eclectic, right?
Yeah, right, eclectic. They want to keep things kind of cohesive there. Okay. So,
and budget has to be a huge point and priority for you, right?
Budget is very important. In a construction project, you always get allowance items from your contractor, and CFM is great about helping designers choose things that are within the budget for the client. So if you have a list of budget items and you start designing, and you can get the contractor's price from any CFM.
Right. And this place can be pretty overwhelming, but 90-some% of these are not viable options for any given project in general.
No, it's a huge showroom. People walk in, they're always saying, oh my gosh, I'm just so overwhelmed. I mean, where do we even start? Well, you start within their budget. So I might walk them over to one carpet row instead of saying, yeah, this whole carpet area is your oyster. You might just end up with just, one area that's really within their budget. So it helps them. It doesn't make them feel like they don't have any choices. It helps them realize, oh wow, this isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Right. What advice would you give anybody who's kind of starting the process, or what do you give as homework to your clients as you start?
I like them to be able to tell a story of the vision that they have for their spaces.
Communication has to be big.
It's huge. You need to just give them some homework and say, gosh, would it be okay if you went on Pinterest or you went on Instagram or started collecting some things, and they'll send them to me via email, in a little booklet form, and I can help them realize that they really do indeed know what they want. They just, it tells a story and repeats kind of the same thing through all of their pictures. You'll see it's always a white kitchen, or it's always, black floors, or there's always something repeating in there.
Right.
That gives them confidence that they really do know what they like or don't like.
Yeah, knowing what you don't like is often the starting point, and that can lead you in the direction you need to go as well. And even on our website has inspiration gallery photos. There are designer idea books and a bunch of different quizzes and things. So yeah, definitely do your homework. There's so much technology and so many options out there right now that it's got to help give you visuals to help you create their vision.
And it helps the client feel engaged. You want them to feel engaged. You don't want to feel like you're just marching forward and you're not getting them
because it's their
involved.
project.
It's their project.
A good designer keeps their vision, not imposes like their personal designer vision.
Correct. It's their space, and you want to make sure they are making it their own.
Right.
So it's important to be sure you engage with them in a really positive manner.
How would you go about finding the right designer? Because I think just finding that match initially is probably the biggest point. You got to make sure it's on budget and that you have a nice working relationship.
I think, your scope of work is going to determine the designer for you. So there are certain designers that do certain scales of jobs. A lot of designers don't want larger jobs. They just can handle the smaller ones. So, CFM has a list of designers that they know ahead of time would be a good fit for you. So it's good to go to CFM and ask them for a list of designers. You can go to the designer associations and look at their websites, and they also have recommendations. So I'd say that's two good starting points.
Yeah, talk to referrals also. But I think those design associations are great. I mean, those are people that are committed to the industry here locally. And you mentioned we're very fortunate to work with so many great designers, and we see them on a regular basis. We can kind of make that warmer lead and pair up more appropriately.
Right, and you can make an introduction also, which is nice that they're not calling somebody out of the blue. They're saying, Pilar at CFM told me that you were a great designer. I'm calling to follow. So it's nice that they're just not calling, cold calling somebody.
And times are busy right now. I'm sure you're pretty well booked up, but there's plenty of new and aspiring designers hitting the market. Do you have any advice for them starting out their own companies?
I'd say you just really need to have a business plan. You need to figure out what is your direction in design. Are you going to really specialize in construction? Are you going to really specialize in furniture? Are you going to specialize in art and accessories? And and just kind of stick to it. It's very, very hard to be really good at everything. So
it takes time. I mean, you've been doing this for 32 years, and I'm sure you're a little bit better now than maybe you were 30 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
We all get a little bit better.
Well, you learn. The thing about construction is you learn on the job. So being on job sites, I'd say if you're going to start in construction and want to be in, like CFM is all carpet and tile and LVT and schluters and trims
hardware and cabinets and countertops
and everything. You also need to just go on site and go on the job sites to learn construction. It's educational as to how this stuff works.
Right. A lot of it just does take time. It's being exposed to it. I encourage students in design school just to kind of immerse themselves and spend time in here, and a lot of that just is kind of absorbed over time as you go through and experience it.
And shadow a builder. Find a builder that you can shadow if you're just coming out of school.
Network and make connections.
Network, meet people.
You want to have a go-to person across the board, right?
Yeah. I mean,
your plumber, your electrician, your lighting
every
person.
builder, when you're being hired, when a client comes in to talk to you and you're being hired by that client, you're also being hired by that contractor. So the builder has a team already, and you need to learn to work well with all those different teams, because every builder will have their own team.
Right.
So,
excellent. Well, great advice. Thank you for taking the time with us this morning. I'm sure you're going to run off to some very important thing right now.
Yes,
But thank you for gracing us with your presence. A ton of great benefits that not only just you provide, but designers in general can really, really help your project. So whether you need them for start to finish or some aspect in between, or even if you think you have all the ideas, you know what you want to do, but you need some confirmation, it's a great option. I know that we're all busy, and many of us are working from home and trying to homeschool 2 kids. So an additional project and making all those decisions can be really difficult right now. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a trusted part of our team. We really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in today. And we look forward to seeing you next week.